Hello and welcome back to Particular Pixels. I'm Xiaoling, and in this short video I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a heads up about the re-release of Batman Arkham Knight. So this video is for anybody who is interested in purchasing the game. Now, for those of you who don't know the story from before, the game was released in June of 2015 for PC, and it was plagued with all kinds of problems. Not limited to, but including, there was a frame rate cap, there were missing NVIDIA GameWorks features, there was a low frames a second, there was massive stuttering, there were memory leaks, there was lots of crashing, and there was no SLI support, to name a few. So of course people were not happy with the game. It was basically unplayable in the state that it was in. So upon further investigation, people found that Rocksteady, the developer of the game, had outsourced the PC version to a small company by the name of Iron Galaxy. What ended up happening is that we got a subpar port and basically a non-working game. And there was such a backlash that people started to get refunds for the game, and eventually Warner Brothers withdrew the game from sale, both online vendors as well as retail vendors, and said that, well, they were going to look into these issues. They were going to have Rocksteady themselves work on the game with NVIDIA's help to try and rectify all these problems that the game had. And then they said that the game would be re-released sometime later in the year. So it's been about 3.5 months, just over, since the game originally came out, and it was re-released on Steam yesterday. And so I'm sure a lot of people who already had the game in their libraries were excited to load it up and give it a try. And I'm sure many of you who don't already own the game have been considering to buy it, since of course these issues have obviously been fixed, right? Well, the first thing I did before I loaded up the game, obviously I got the game updated on Steam, I patched it and whatnot, is I headed over to the forums to see what people were saying. And the first thing I noticed, beside the fact that the game was $10 cheaper than the original price, was that Warner Brothers, as a thank you to everybody for waiting, etc., etc., was offering all of the Arkham games within the Arkham library to everybody who owns a copy of Arkham Knight. So at first I thought, okay, well that's fine, you know, people have been waiting for this game to be fixed or whatnot. But then I also noticed that they stated anyone who buys Arkham Knight before the 12th of November will also get access or free copies of all the games in the Arkham library. So that seemed a bit strange. I was thinking, okay, so they're really wanting people to buy the game still. What's wrong with it was my first question. And then I started to see all the Steam posts, forum posts of people complaining about the performance and that SLI didn't work, and yeah, all of the things that I've mentioned in the beginning of the video. You know, okay, well they've removed the frame cap. So yeah, it's in 3 months they've removed the frame cap. There is still no SLI support. There's still massive stuttering. There's still a memory leak. And I'm not sure if there's still going to be massive amounts of crashing. When I tested it, I didn't get any crashing. But what I did get was an incredibly low frame rate that was very unstable. The game would just pause for random periods of time while I was flying around. It got even worse when I drove around in the Batmobile. And there was no SLI support. Now I'm running on two 970s, and there are some people posting on the forums that there is a SLI bits that you can put in that will allow you to enable SLI. But from the replies to that post that I saw, at least yesterday, it made the performance even worse, which was exactly the same thing that happened when the game initially came out. You know, you turned on SLI, the frame rate would be even worse than when you just used one of your cards. NVIDIA didn't release a driver specifically for the release of Batman yesterday, which was another thing that seems a little bit odd. I guess it's no longer a big release, so perhaps in their next update they'll release something for that. Although I'm not sure that SLI being enabled will fix the stuttering, but at any rate, it's just absolutely unplayable. And it was very disappointing because I was looking really forward to playing the game after having waited, you know, 3.5 months to play it. Now I'm sure there are a small minority of people who are not having these issues, as there were when the game first came out. There were some people saying the game runs flawlessly. But then there are people with Titans and 980 Ti's who are saying that their frame rates are all over the place, you know, dropping all the way down to the low 20s. In my test run through, and you can probably have noticed that in the footage I'm playing in the background, where I have fraps running as well as all my CPU usage and GPU usage monitors up, you guys can see the stuttering and the frame rate for yourself. This game is a complete mess. Will these issues get fixed? Well, that remains to be seen. But what I'm going to say is it doesn't look very promising. If after 3.5 months of so-called working on these fixes and the game releases in the exact same state as it was before, well, all I have to say is that I don't really have hopes for this game any longer. What are they going to fix in a week from now? What are they going to fix in 2 weeks from now? Perhaps in another 3 months or in another 6 months, maybe. But are they going to continually put resources into trying to fix something that's essentially broken at its core? Yeah, so what else can I say? I don't know what Rocksteady were thinking when they decided to release the game in this state. I don't think it's going to improve their already tarnished reputation with the PC community. They can offer all the free stuff, but you know, people just want a working game, and you can't release this kind of product and expect people to pay $50 for it. It's unfinished. And just from some browsing earlier this morning, I see that the state of the release of the game has already made its way to the headlines of several large gaming sites, just pretty much like the original did. Guess it's kind of like Groundhog Day for Warner Brothers. Do not buy this game. Broken. Avoid it at all costs. Warner Brother and Rocksteady do not deserve your hard-earned money for whatever this is. It's not a game. You can't play it. Doesn't work. Honestly, they should be ashamed of even trying to re-release this broken mess to anybody. Stay away from this. With a 10-foot barge pole. Anyways, if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the link below. And I've been Xiaoling, and I'll see you next time.